are here for one of my favorite panel topics. It's the eSports phenomena, and I am very excited to be here with my fellow panelists. This is Wendel. He's a professional gamer. I'll let him tell you about it. So what I like to do is I like to do intros and then jump into the topic. But before I do that, I just wanted to give the little speech that I always give, which is we are 100% here for you guys. Oh, Gabriel, welcome. So what that means to me is I really want to make sure that you get your questions answered and or your comments in there. So if we're talking about something that inspires you to ask something, or you want us to elaborate more on a certain topic, feel free to raise your hand and join in the conversation, because I really like to make my panels very you-focused, very audience-focused. I want to make sure that you get out of it what you plan to get out of it. So feel free to join in. We're a happy family here, right? Okay. No problem. Awesome. So to start, I'm Genese Davis. I am an author of a video game thriller, The Holder's Dominion. I'm also a columnist for MMORPG.com. I'm the founder of The Game Review, and I also do voiceover work for various video game channels, and I'm a media personality for conventions like E3 and the San Diego Comic-Con, and I moderate for all kinds of video game panels and writing panels and art and creativity. So that's me in a nutshell, and I'll let Jonathan take it from there.
How y'all doing? I'm Jonathan Wendel. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. I've been playing video games professionally since 1999, being really the first full-time professional gamer. I was featured on MTV, True Life, I'm a Gamer, which kind of like got me famous, but I kept playing and winning tournaments and held the record for most eSports winnings for about 12 or 13 years. And basically I started my own lifestyle brand for gamers, making hardware for gamers like headphones, motherboards, computer hardware, and kind of talk about all of this, kind of from the beginning, always on current.
I love it. So can you kind of give us an idea of how this all started? Like basically, what kind of family did you grow up in? Were you able to dive into video games right away? And what were those first video games?
Well, my dad was, kind of big into the PC and the Nintendo when it first came out, like '85. I was a PC gamer before that, but Nintendo came out in '85, and I played PC games in '85. I played, I think it was like a 12 megahertz computer, but I played like Akari Warriors, I played Mario Brothers and all that stuff. I played Microsoft Flight Simulator. That was like one of my first games. So even when I played first-person shooters, I used an inverted mouse because I think I'm flying a plane. But yeah, so I grew up kind of in a sports family. My dad catered to me competing all the time in sports, and I think some of the skills I learned from playing real sports helped my hand-eye coordination and helped become a great gamer.
So many parents ask me during video game panels, especially topics that are specifically geared toward video games and how they affect the brain and education. So many parents ask, how many hours should I let my child play video games? How much is too much? Did you ever feel like your parents had a good balance, or how would you approach that?
Well, it was they didn't really let me play all the time because they liked us being outside, playing frisbee or basketball or football or anything in the yard. But in Missouri, it gets cold and there's rainy and
it's so
snow.
cool. We're here so close to
here. So you know how it is. So it's like whenever there was this kind of weather, I would play video games. I would play sports all the time, but whenever it was rainy outside or snow, I played video games. That was kind of my passing time when I had nothing else to do, I guess.
That's really cool to hear, because a lot of times, we do hear that professional gamers, that all you do is, you play video games because you have to play so much. So it's cool that you had a balance of outdoor sports and video games, and you were still able to get enough.
Well, yeah, this is like more like when you grow up as a kid. When you're, a young kid, parents, dealing with us want to play games. I wanted to play 8 hours a day, just my parents wouldn't let me. I think it made me very well-rounded. It allowed me to have a lot of different perspectives of looking at the game. And, playing the sports I did, I learned, from my coaches, training, practice makes perfect. And one of my famous quotes is practice, practice, practice. I said practice 20 times on the TV. Definitely practice is the most important thing, but I think still running exercise helps your neurotransmitters, help you think faster, make quick decisions. These are all very important things for a professional gamer. You have to be able to react, and for me, playing sports and running, helped me be a better and faster gamer, make better decisions.
That is so cool that he said that, because I literally do the same thing. If I get stumped in writing, I will go for a run or I'll work out, and for some reason it helps with my creative process, and I swear by it. It's really cool.
It helps.
How did eSports start? Like, you started playing at home, you just playing video games, and what was those first steps? When was it? And way back in the day.
Well, basically, competitive gaming was from it happened like Blockbuster had come like in '93, I think it was. You played like Sonic Hedgehog 2, Clay Fighter, and NBA Jam. And I loved NBA Jam. It was one of my favorite games. But that was the first time I ever really trained for a tournament. That was like '92, '93. And then
so you just made the decision at home to train for
I was like,
tournament.
I'm gonna train. I'm gonna train like I would in sports, So I would dedicate 4 or 6 hours a day to get better at the game. And I thought it was weird at first, but I was like, I kind of want to win, so like let's just like go all out and just do it.
And how old were you?
I was like 11, 12.
Okay, wow. At 11 or 12, you made that decision. That's so cool.
So I was just like, I thought it'd be kind of cool to win the Blockbuster tournament, So I got my name on the list, third in my city when I was 12 or 13, and then I went from 15. The internet came out. You could play like Doom and Duke Nukem 3D and Warcraft 2 and Command & Conquer all on the Kali. And so those are like the fun games I played back in the day. I mean, even before that, on BBSs, I used to log in and go message the day and like give everyone my phone number. Please call me. Let's dial up and connect and play a game together.
It's so cool. I see you nodding.
I was like really hardcore.
Wow, that's awesome. So there was a network of people available, but it was very different. You had to go out and put your phone number out and actually put together a team.
That was before the internet, BBS, and just dialing up. I was only 12 or 13 at the time, but I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to play these games. And, luckily the internet came out. A software called Kali came out to help us play iKicks games over the internet. Then eventually games started making the games with TCP/IP to connect to matches, and then basically that was kind of the birth of eSports. Was Quake 1. I think Quake 1 was really the most competitive game, and then a guy named Dennis Fong won that Ferrari that John Carmack gave away at E3, and people were like, wow, you can actually win something.
Win a car.
Yeah. So it was crazy. So during that age of 15 to 18, from 96 to 99, I traveled all around the Midwest, and I won every tournament I entered. And I think the most expensive thing I bought, or I won, was like a $50 modem. So you're doing it as a hobby and for fun, but I still wanted to be the best in my region, and it was just something I did.
Wasn't there a tournament that was like far away, and you got someone to drive you, like you had your eye on the prize?
Yeah, I was like 15 years old, and there was a Quake 1 tournament, and I had a mom drive me all the way to Wichita, Kansas, and I played out there, and I ended up winning first place was 120 college students, whatever the deal was. I won like a cell phone and a modem, and then I got this piece of paper that said champion on it. So every day in the algebra class, I would pull up my binder and have the champion thing there. And my buddy right behind me always played Quake with me. He was only like 6 guys in my high school that played the game, and so every day I kind of it was just bragging rights,
Yeah. So out of all of the things that you could win, it was mostly just like gaming gear and things like that. That was it. Free
year of internet or a month at the internet cafe, stuff like that. Just like very basic. And then in 1999, that's basically when I decided to go full time. I was going to quit college and quit working to become a full-time gamer. And that's how I kind of titled the first full-time professional gamer. Basically that's all I did for eight years. So from '99 till 2007, I played, non-stop, making a living playing video games. So my first term, I had $500 in my bank account, and my buddies from Omaha, Nebraska said that, hey, you should drive to Dallas and go play in this tournament. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm that good. He's like, dude, you're good. Like, you're definitely gonna win money. I'm like, okay, like, what the hell? I saved that $500. I guess I'll just spend it, I'm doing something I love anyways. It's my passion. At the same time, I don't want to go through life not knowing that I could have done something special. So for me, it was like, I need to do these things in life anyways, so I can feel happy about moving my career path into like the more corporate or more like traditional route, of working. So I spent $500 and drove down there, I ended up winning $4,000 that weekend playing Quake 3, and I was like, man, this is a crazy world, you know. And I went home and slapped that check on the table and showed my dad. It's like, Dad, I won $4,000 weekend playing a video game, and he was like, that's crazy. I'm like, yeah, I have no idea what's going on. So, but they wrote me a check for it, and the next 2 weeks later, I got a phone call from a company, and they were like, hey, we'd like to fly you to Sweden to represent USA, and I was like, sign me up, you know. So then I flew to Sweden to represent USA, and I won 18 games straight, losing 0 games against the top 12 gamers in the world. And that's how my fame kind of started, like, immediately. And shortly after that, I got sponsored. I won $40,000 the next month, and then I went to Korea to represent USA again. I won the gold medal, and I won 25 grand there. I ended up winning like over $110,000 my first year as a professional gamer.
Wow.
And it was a rush. And for me, it was a passion. I loved it. So I did it for a couple more years, and kept winning money here and there. And you know, eventually MTV came to me and said, we'd like to film you playing one of your tournaments. You're the 3-time player of the year. We'd like to follow you around. And so I was like, okay. So,
that was MTV and
yeah,
Gamer.
yeah. And I had, remember, I have very little idea I'm even famous yet. And so I'm just like so like zoned into like what I'm doing in the game, and then basically I won on MTV, and that launched me into a new like crazy lifestyle. And then I actually came here to St. Louis. I was actually here in St. Louis at the McGuire Brothers building. I used to throw LAN parties right down the street here, and so yes, I brought MTV here, and we filmed me, like, you know, and I invested the $10,000 I wanted to start my company, Fatal1ty Gaming Gear.
That's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you, so in the midst of all of this, Fatal1ty, the gaming gear brand, was born.
Yeah, basically MTV didn't launch my brand. Yeah.
Wow, and I remember you telling me that it started from the inspiration of a mouse pad?
Well, the mouse pad is one of the first things I made in gaming. I made it in 2002. It's basically just an oversized large mouse pad. It basically didn't exist in the market at all. The only thing that was close to it was a printer mat that this company made. And so I called up the company and said, okay, I'd like to make your printer mat into a mouse pad for gamers. And I was talking to them, and they were talking about how their sales have increased over the years. And I'm like, well, I told them, you're welcome. so they ended up cutting a deal with me, and they produced the mouse pad for me. And
but what was that story behind the mouse pad? How did it?
Well, it was basically because I play for long hours. People put a lot of pressure on their wrist when they're at the office or anywhere, and you get pain in your wrist. And that's just from long hours, or just put too much pressure, too much weight on your wrist. Same thing happened on your keyboard hand. But so why did I pick this mouse pad that was kind of bigger, had a more rubberized, so you put the forearm on the mouse pad, and that takes the pressure off the wrist and puts it on your forearm. This allows you to game for many more hours. And so basically that was my invention on that one product, and I made it $50,000 in 5 months selling mouse pads. And I was like, this is great. And then basically I was trying to think of like how can I parlay this into something more, more than just one product. And then Creative Labs came to me and wanted to sponsor me, and they were going to offer me $200,000 for a 2-year sponsorship. And I just told, I was in a really powerful position where I could say no, because I already had my vision of finding VC money and creating my own brand, my own company, and I already had success, and I had the brand was building.
But that's amazing, because I mean, I feel like if someone were to offer sponsor a $200,000 contract, that would be tempting.
It was. I mean, believe me, it took me like 2 or 3 weeks even to say no. So it was just.
So you saw the vision of just owning your own idea.
Yeah, I figure I want all this money playing video games. I'm gonna lose it all playing video games. So that was like literally like what I thought, and I just didn't care. I was like, I'll make money working. I'll be an IT guy, a programmer. I have a backup plan all the time. So I never really stressed it. I thought it was fun, and so then I eventually. I started selling headphones with my brand and so forth on it. I invented another product, basically making the headphones I was the first removable microphone in the market for gaming headphones. So, and I made that product in 2005.
You designed find that because it would help gamers?
Yeah, basically I thought gamers, I think gamers needed a $40 headset anyways because it's really expensive to buy these $200 headphones all the time. And if they break, you're like, man, I really want to spend $200 more to get a pair of headphones.
Right.
So I was talking to the developers at the time, and this is 10 years ago. And I just told them, I was like, hey, gamers, sell a $40 headphone, give them good bass, have this one feature, removable microphone on it. I told them the fabric, the pickups, and all these different things, and then they made it for me. And we're still selling the product today. It's been 10 years now. We've been selling this product forever, and it's an amazing product. It's one of those things. People break it, they buy another pair. Right now you can buy a Newegg for like $28.
Nice.
So it's like everyone. It's very affordable for everyone. And, everyone uses it.
I've always got that feeling from you that you know the video game industry so well, and the esports and the gaming, that your heart is in it for the player, and you have so much experience behind the computer or the console that you know the ins and outs and what can. And I appreciate that. I like that you're always trying to help.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to help people improve their ability by 1 or 2 or 3% in every product they make. So like, constantly when I'm making a product, I'm trying to think of how can I help you improve your game by a percentage. Like making the mouse pad, it allowed you to game for more hours, but also allowed you to use a lower sensitivity in the game when you're playing like a first-person shooter. You have more, you don't have to pick up the mouse as much. So when you can be actually doing damage during that period of time, or be moving the mouse across to be more accurate. With the headphones, same kind of thing. You want to have good clarity in the sound and so forth, and have these features, movable microphone. I mean, I also was thinking marketing-wise, like I want more than just gamers to wear the headphone. I want gamers to wear it on the street or the bus or the train. So they take off the microphone, and they just have a normal pair of headphones. And they're just hanging. Like I had some girl DJing with my headphones in Sweden, and I was like, what's going on here? And my friends we're buying a drink together, and they're just having a good time. He's like, how's the business going? I'm like, it's good. And I just look over and the DJ's wearing my headphones, and I was like, it's going really good. I'll buy drinks.
I really, really like also that you just told me a story that he met someone online 19 years ago, and he actually mailed him his modem.
Yeah. He's actually here from Columbia, Missouri, and in '96, '97, I played Quake 1 with him forever. He's like one of my online buddies. We never voice chat. I think I called one time from my phone from long distance, and talked to him on the phone for a good 10, 15, 20 minutes saying hi. And so I'm with this guy every day in the virtual world, but like never talking, never meeting him. And so when I got broadband, I said, hey, what's your address? I want to send you my 56K modem. This modem's really good. Like he has a 56K modem too, but I was like, dude, like mine's really good. Like it lowers the ping a lot, and so I sent it off to him. He's like, man, like it lowered my ping by 80 milliseconds. And like that, back then it was like a big deal. And so I mailed him the modem, and it's so funny. Actually, I got to meet him last night for my first time ever. So 19 years later, I met him for my first time here at Comic-Con. He came out and reached out to me on Skype or Twitter or whatever, and we went out last night, had a good time, and it was really cool to meet him 19 years later.
That's so cool. I always get these tweets and these requests from audiences about how to, if they're a young person, they want to get into pro gaming. What can you give us advice or a breakdown of what are the steps for someone who wants to be a pro gamer?
Well, so you can play in online tournaments as much as you want. Online tournaments are always a great way to formulate your skills and test your might, whatever you want to call it.
I like that texture, right?
But yeah, so I mean, you want to play online tournaments as much as possible, but you will learn 10 times more information if you do it in person. Go to a LAN center, go to your friend's house and connect and be there in person with your other buddies that want to pursue and do the same things. You will learn 10 times the amount of information you will by playing online, I promise. It's so much, you can just freely talk about the game so much easier. You can test things out. You're there and you can A/B test all day. So it's just being in person is so powerful when you're trying to learn a game and discuss a game and shoot ideas off each other back and forth.
Interesting. I wouldn't have expected that. What are the games, like you talk about how different games become popular and have bigger prize purses. You talk about the difficulty as a pro gamer for switching games because you have to start all over again and relearn the game. Can you describe, I mean, what are the games right now that someone should focus on if they
Well, I mean, the MOBA genre is the biggest genre right now. I mean, League of Legends, Dota 2. So these games, I mean, obviously are the ones you really want to focus on. I mean, it's an uphill battle all the way. I mean, you know, if you didn't already play mobile games before this, you didn't play Dota 1 with the Warcraft 3 mod, you know, you're kind of already like, you know, 5 years behind. So it's like us playing like FPS genre 1v1. Like, I mean, I have like over 20 years of experience of playing these games. It's like my experience. I mean, it's gonna take you years to even catch up.
And
so
that
like,
keeps me from playing FPS.
Well, it's just the thing is just fighting the demons and like, you know, just because like even for me, like when I switched from game to game, like I would go from Quake to Unreal Tournament. Like, dude, the Unreal Tournament community were like, dude, you have no chance in our community, you're gonna die. Like, you know, and like, you know, when I first did it, I actually, you know, I took like, I went to a qualifier, took a third, and I went to another qualifier, took a third again. I'm like, man, like, I just don't understand the game yet, you know, and I was right there, very close. And then I trained for another month and a half, and I kept training and getting better, and I kept winning every match I played. And then I went to the tournament, which was on MTV or whatever, and then I ended up winning the whole tournament. I mean, it was one of my best performances of my lifetime at that show. I mean, my average death per game, like a 15-minute match, I would die 1.5 times. So it's like, I mean, it's like, you just don't die, you know.
How many frags?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it was, you know, in the 20s or whatever.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but like it's, you know, it was, you know, that's kind of like, you have to be able to say you suck again, and then you have to go at it again, you know. And that's what I had to fight. I had to fight, like, you know, a lot of these guys, like, you know, when a game called Painkiller came out, and many of you maybe don't even know the game Painkiller. It's very much like Quake 1, but Intel gave out $1 million that year to play that game. So I traveled all around the world. I traveled to 10 different countries, and I went to New York City and actually won the World Tour Finals, winning $150K. And that year I won $231,000 playing Painkiller. And like there's these other guys who were like these awesome gamers from Quake, and I was like, why are they not playing this game?
Right.
And the problem is they just didn't want to suck again and learn a new game.
You put so many hours in Quake.
Yeah.
You started on Painkiller.
But the thing is, the game was fresh, so it's like you just make sure whenever you get a chance to play a new game like a beta, play the beta a ton. You know, get in there early, learn all the cool things about it, and get a jump start on everyone. That's the way you're going to be the best. You got to get in that beta stages and go at it full speed. Don't be waiting around for the game to launch, because then you're already 6 months behind. And, you know, and you're 6 months behind, it takes a year to catch up. So I've lived it and done it. You know, I know the math.
You played a lot of 1v1 games, and you also just mentioned that MOBA is really big right now. So do you feel like team-based esports is going to be in the future?
That's just what it is right now. I mean, and that's. I mean, it's not changing. I mean, Counter-Strike Go is so popular right now. You have, you know, 5-on-5, Dota, and League, and all that stuff. So, you know, team games are, you know, where they are right now. You need to find a good group of guys to team up with and have that same passion and drive. But it's hard to find 5 guys that really want to do it.
Right, and that's what I was going to follow up with, is trying to form a team. Yes, sir.
I was going to say, with the pressure that comes to the team environment, I know you were a lot of solo players. How did you control your emotions, I guess? Like, I know some players more comments are rage, but like, did you ever get so mad that like, you just got done? Like, you were done?
So just so everyone can hear, his question is about how do you control your emotions, or have you ever been in a match where you just were so done, or you had a lot of rage?
Well, you know, let's talk about common nerves first, because you know, I grew up as a kid playing billiards, pool, and golf, and baseball, and all these different sports. And playing in these tournaments as a young kid, I think, helped me be more calm under pressure. But the funny thing, this is actually what I do every time. Even right now, I'm doing it. I cross my ankles, and it allows my knee not to bounce. Because when I get nervous, I'll start bouncing my knee. If I'm bouncing my knee, my hands start shaking. If my hand's shaking, my aim is shaking. You know, so like I have like all these little tricks I would do to keep my nerves in check, and I guess that was one of them. Did you have more?
So that basically covers just like, so basically like develop your own little tricks to help you control your emotions.
Yeah, I mean I was superstitious for sure. Like, I mean I'm telling you, I did the same thing every time. You know, I would go wash my hands. I would use 4 paper towels, wash my hands, and I get another one, just cling to my fingers, and I'm like, I'm now ready. You know, so it's like I had all these things to get me game ready, like to get in the zone, to focus. You know, I usually listen to music. I would listen to music to pump me up if I felt tired. I would get music calm me down if I was too excited. I do a lot of things to like make sure my mind is right.
That's interesting. It's really cool. Ritual. Swear about the ritual. It works.
Yeah, I was like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. You know, right. Even if I lost a tournament, I was wearing some shirt, I would throw it away. You know, I was a nut.
That's interesting. I wanted to follow up just with you about the team versus playing solo. If someone did want to form a team, are there coaches or mentors out there in esports, or do you have to go at it alone?
Well, I mean, you have to do something on your own at the beginning just to get started. You know, you got to find some guys that are committed to doing it, to find other competitive people that have the same goals. You're not really going to find a coach per se, but I mean, you never know. There could be some guy that wants to be a local coach here and wants to take you guys under his wing and push you in the right direction if you need that. For me, I've always been self-motivated, so I've always had my own personal goals and own needs to be, you know, very good at what I do. So I put the work in every day regardless, without him helping me. But you know, playing team games is a lot about just chemistry. I mean, in Quake 3, I played team deathmatch for 2 years, and we were undefeated, never lost a tournament. And I played with 3 other amazing people though. We all thought the same. One of the guys went to Princeton and very mathematical mind, and him and I got along so well because we did everything by the numbers. And also we had like raw talent too, but we were so like down to the numbers of the game. And then the 2 other guys one was a little bit of a crazy guy, and the other guy was just solid. He was just a team player, 100%. If we tell him to go watch the jump pad, he would go watch the jump pad. He would sit there for 15 minutes or 20 minutes to the match, and like he didn't move unless he had to. If he locked it down, I was like, hey, we just stay there, and then we'd go off and do our thing and control our part of the map. So it's really fun working with great guys that have the passion to be amazing and have the know-how. But you know, you gotta get lucky to find those people.
Interesting. Did you have another question?
I was just gonna elaborate on the coaches.
On the coaches?
Yeah, like in the MOBA scene right now, it's interesting. All of the pro teams all have a coach.
Yeah.
Like they'll have a coach that basically they'll sit there and they'll help them right before a match. Like in MOBAs, there's a huge champion. It's like this is the people you can rid up. This is the people you can play. You know,
Just so everyone can hear you. So he's just elaborating on the coaches, and that in the MOBA scene, there are coaches for every team.
Every pro team's gonna have a coach. I mean, I know Odie very well from Team Genese Davis. He's a longtime friend of mine. But yeah, I mean, they have these obviously for pro team they have coaches. But
will a coach find you, or can you approach?
He could find you, but you need to play those online tournaments. You need to get to the top ranks. You need to be amazing at what you do, and you will be found if you keep placing well in these online tournaments. And if you be involved in the community is very important, because you know being involved in the community is advertising that you exist and you're there and you are hungry. So if you're not there every day on IRC, you know, I used IRC back in the day, but yeah, so it's like, you know, you have to be involved in the community, however it is, and people will get to know you and they'll be like, hey, let's play a game together. And if you're amazing in those practice warm-up games or pickup games, people are gonna take notice. And you gotta do well in tournaments though. Tournaments are where it counts. And, you know, those people are, you know, the guy just, you know, was named High. He just retired from Cloud9. So the spot's open. Who are they gonna pick? You know, so it's like that kind of thing is happening all the time. You just gotta be like right there waiting for that call.
Interesting. Audiences always ask about how do you. Let me rephrase that. Audiences always ask about the video game industry and whether or not misinformed families will ask. You know, I don't want my child to pursue necessarily video games because I don't know if there's money in it. And I know personally so many artists and developers that they plenty of money, you know, in the video game industry as a whole. But then on the gaming side, we just had a panel in Philadelphia about careers in gaming, and there was a panelist who swore that, you know, you couldn't make money in games, and like only if you played StarCraft in Korea. So I just would like to hear your opinion that, you know, if, let's say, you know, someone out here is interested in making money in games, are there other avenues that people may not know about?
Well, there's tons of avenues. I mean, obviously, you know, YouTube and Twitch. I mean, you don't have to be good at the game, you should be entertaining. You Just be a good character. You have your own TV show online, so people are entertained by how you cover the news, or how you cover the game, or how you play the game, or how you just talk. So there's so many different ways to make money in gaming. From not only playing, but I mean, there's game testers out there that work for the companies. There's all kinds of jobs in the gaming industry. So I mean, it's just a matter of taking up all those opportunities that are given to you. But it's like anything. I mean, if you want to be a top person in your field, it's every day of your life, and it has to be your passion. It has to be something you're wanting to sacrifice a lot to have and to get. And that's what I did in my life. I mean, I sacrificed my friends, family, everything just to I need to go this term. I need to win. I'm still friends with my family. But you just have to get to sacrifice that time. It's just you can't call them up and talk for 30 minutes every day. It's I gotta train.
Right, and that spoke to my heart because I pour so much work into all my various aspects that we sacrifice a lot of times. I totally understand. Yes, sir. Did you have a question, sir?
Yeah, just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on Twitch and sort of its impact right now on kind of esports, and do you think it's helping it?
So Twitch and the impact on esports.
100% it's helping. I mean, it's Twitch is becoming the television channel for esports and for any kind of media for gamers to tune in to watch anything. Even for companies, it's helping them, to market something they're making or building or whatnot. I mean, even for me, when I log on and play sometimes, I'm playing the game, I'm not talking as much as other people. I'm more about just playing the game and playing the game to the bone, kind of, I want to win, but let me show you how I do it. And then I take in questions here and there, but Twitch is doing such an amazing job with just the whole esports community and showing people the numbers that gaming can bring in. And here's the Storm just on ESPN2 just about 3 weeks ago or so, a month. And Twitch. I think Twitch is just doing an amazing job on bringing it to the forefront and bringing all the gamers together from all different platforms too, not just PC gamers. They're bringing the PlayStation gamers in there. They're bringing all the gamers into one community, which is really cool because back in my time, not a long time ago, but it's PC, you're PC. If you're Xbox, you're Xbox. If you're PlayStation, you're PlayStation. So it's and I hated being away from other gamers because I feel like we're all one person. We're just playing on different platforms. So the closer we get to bringing everyone together, I think the better.
Did you have your hand up, ma'am? No? Did I miss anybody's hand? Oh yes.
How do you feel about some of the genre overlap we're starting to see? Overwatch from Blizzard has a lot of MOBA elements to it.
Yeah.
And for a first-person shooter, that's amazing. I'm really excited about that game in particular. But how do you think that's going to affect the esports scene?
So the question is about genre overlap and how he thinks esports will be affected. Oh, like Overwatch. Sorry, so I said everyone.
Yeah,
you mentioned Overwatch.
The video game's Overwatch from Blizzard. It's their first FPS game. How is overlapping? You mean by overlapping it's this MOBA game, but it's FPS?
Right. Overlap.
I mean,
sort of goes back to Battlefield 1942. We had different classes.
Yeah.
Space, but with more explosive abilities, more cinematic game styles, things to draw on the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, Battleborn, Battleborn is one of my favorite games I want to play too. So those are my two favorite games. I want to play Overwatch and Battleborn are my two favorite games I want to play when they come out. The thing is, when these companies make these games, they don't even know they're making an esports game sometimes. It just happens platonically. And oh, everyone wants to play this game. The users are there. They're just competitive. They want to play these tournaments. They exist. People want to enter. I think Blizzard will definitely be an esports title because they have BlizzCon every year and they're gonna push it. They're gonna put up $100,000 to whoever wins it or whatever the deal is. And so that's a perfect example of a game to jump into right now if you want to be on the cutting edge. You probably want to play some TF2 or some other games just to oil your skills. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, I think Overwatch and Battleborn could be interesting games to play, and I'm looking forward to it. But you won't know until it happens. The thing with Overwatch, is it a 1 year done? Is it a 1 year game? Is it a 2 year game? Counter-Strike goes 14 years now. Counter-Strike Go. So yeah, so you don't know. you don't know how long these games last. For me, when I was playing, the games lasted 12 to 18 months. That was the lifespan of every esports game I played. And I was a world champion at 5 different games. So I had to suck 4 or 5 different times. Because it takes time to learn the new game, because the new game is different. It's, you're not fighting close range anymore, you're fighting far range. You're not fighting far range, you're fighting mid range. Now you're fighting against people that want to hide and run and shoot and run all day. You want to fight against, now you're in a game where it pays to be super aggressive all the time. So every game has a different play style, and you just have to figure it out. And when you figure it out, you know where it is, and you know that spot where you're right on the edge and you're playing it perfect, it's the best feeling. When you're just running through people like all day, every day, it's an amazing feeling.
And I love that you said that you set goals for yourself, like little goals, like maybe.
So like my goals, like when I play my games, like 1v1 games, I would make goals like where I can't die the whole game, so that I would do whatever it took to survive every fight. Or I would say, okay, I can only use this gun or these 2 guns, or I can only control this part of the map. I can't go there ever. So I make these personal goals for myself, because some people sometimes get bored playing the game. You're playing 8 hours a day. How are you going to find entertainment? The best way is to find 4 other people you can play the game with that you really enjoy playing with. You love talking to them, you love joking around with them, you make jokes about them, you give them a hard time. You want to have fun still, but at the same time you gotta play the game, and that's how it works.
I really like the advice that you give new players to the FPS genre, because I mentioned how I was afraid to start. There's such a barrier for new players to enter FPS games that sometimes we just avoid it. Me and Jason Hayes were on a panel with Fatal1ty Philadelphia, and Jason and I were like, we avoid those games or we only play with the bots because we will get just raked over the coals if we're not up to speed.
Yeah. Well, I was just telling you about the game Titanfall, and how Titanfall built the game around where it didn't really involve you having to kill the opponent. You can actually do other things for the team, like kill the bots. There's like a attrition mode. So I was really intrigued by the game because it actually caters to that FPS community that doesn't really have the skill set or the ability to kill the other player, but can still be very good for their team by doing other things in the game. It's just, that's part about being a team player.
And you would say you should announce, right? Announce that you're new, and then FPS players will help.
Well, I think that's in MOBA games, because the MOBA genre is very tough on everyone.
Okay.
Even me when I started out, and I was like, just give me a second, guys. I will get a hold of this.
So that was the advice, right? You just let them know that you're
just
new and
make it known, because for me, when I play a MOBA game or any game, if someone tells me they're new, I'm constantly thinking back in my head, like, how can I help them be better? I'll give them advice here and there, and I'll tell them what to do, and I'll be very courteous to this player, Whereas some people just want to oh, you suck, thumbs down, no skill, click.
Yeah.
But the things, you gotta help these people out and help them enjoy the game, and that will help the audience grow, I think.
And then you go ahead and hit green hat. Oh, you done?
No, I was just saying, just like for MOBAs, just find that small group of people like this. And you said MOBA scene's really rough. Not everybody's super supportive.
So his advice was, in the MOBA scene, find a small group. Yes, sir.
Well, I wanted to know, you're playing both FPSs and MOBAs now?
I play pretty much everything. I don't play them in professional tournaments anymore. So I do play every genre. I've played every genre. It's mainly just to stay up with the cutting edge of discussions and topics. Because I have my brand and company that sponsors all these different gamers and game genres. So it's very valuable for me to have knowledge in all these different genres. But I play everything. And just I'm not training for any pro tournament right now secretly or anything.
I was going to
Or
ask.
am I?
Or is he?
I was going to ask, how would you get to playing both? Now you can play for fun.
Yeah. So I still play very competitively. I would still say I'm a very competitive player. I still play at a very high, extremely high level. I mean, in Toxic, I got ranked top 20 in the world already. Playing the beta. I play all these games I want to play the game to win. So I think that's my #1 goal in life is to do that. So I love playing with people that are passionate about their game, because I click. I understand very fast, and I would say most of my life is about competition. Like that's my #1 thing to do every day of my life. If I'm not competing at something, it's my worst day.
It's my worst day. Okay, just want to make sure.
Have you ever played the Smash Bros. tournament?
Say again?
Super Smash Bros. Tournament? Have you ever played?
I never
Super
played tournament,
Smash.
but I played it. I have a funny story about that game. One time I was, cause I'm a big Mortal Kombat guy, and that's where I got my name Fatal1ty from. And so my friends were like, let's play Smash Brothers. I'm like playing it, and trying to throw a fireball and whatever. And and I was like, dude, I'm gonna get some water. So I put the controller down, and they're fighting on some space map, right? And I go get some water and come back, get back, and game's over. And they're like, and I was like, so who won? And then they all look at the scores. All the scores are negative. I'm the only positive one. I won.
What?
So I'm like, you guys are horrible. I'm out.
Wow, it's crazy.
So it's when you fall off the map, I guess you lose a lot of points. So, and then they just left me there. So.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Yes, sir.
Have you ever played #IDAR?
What's it called?
#IDAR.
Hashtag iDart.
No, I have not. What kind of game is that?
It's on Xbox One right now.
Yeah.
It's coming to PC soon.
Oh, cool. What is it?
It's a platformer. It's eSports. Like that's what they used to describe it. But it's a platformer, retro, random, fast-paced, random.
Platform retro fast
Is
paced.
it
I like it.
Is it a fighter game?
No, it's a basically you just score the ball in the goal.
Oh, okay.
Different platforms, double jumps,
Oh, that's interesting.
trick shots.
Yeah, I used to play Quake used to have a game where you play like virtual football, and like you would like throw the football, and shoot
Yeah,
the
it's
rock.
basically like that.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Okay, the last thing that we were asked to go over is the future of esports and VR. Where do you see the industry headed? Because there are still, and you told me a story of the newscaster that I'll let you say, because so many industries still. We have the gaming bubble, it feels like, and all of us know how much opportunity there is in so many aspects, but so many industries still are behind or still have kind of I don't want to say negative, because, kind of a negative aspect around it.
The stereotype of gamers.
A stereotype of the gamers. So do you see that changing, and do you see VR infiltrating esports in the future?
Well, VR is interesting. I don't know about like taking over esports, but it's a cool way to play the game.
Yeah.
But talking about esports, where it's going, since the birth of it, basically like in the late '90s, every day I did an interview. I was on 60 Minutes, Time Magazine, Front Page Business Week, and I tell them every day, like, guys, esports are blowing up every day. There's more and more fans every day. Like today, we're building the fans for the future, and that's so true right now.
Yeah.
You look at how many fans are watching, League of Legends and all these different games. All the guys that I grew up with now are hosting those tournaments or throwing those events, and you look at the numbers just growing out of control. The guy at ESPN2 or ESPN Cower, whatever his name was. He's just, he's like in his little hole. He doesn't know anything about esports.
Well, and what he said was, he said that if
He's
he
like,
was asked
if I was ever asked to work on
to cover
esports, you could fire me now and become a fisherman or something.
he refused to cover esports.
So it's just,
interesting.
I talked to my lawyer is actually out of St. Louis. He's my lawyer agent, and he's a big sports guy. He actually works with the Cardinals all the time, and he actually helped me throw out the first pitch in Kansas City Royals Stadium a few years back. And he was listening to XM radio and listening. He's like, man, this guy has no idea about esports, and he's really close to it too because he's with me, for 14 years now.
Yeah.
It's just. Esports is so blowing up so much. The community alone, ate him alive. So it was kind of cool to see that go down.
That's really
just to show how passionate we are about, our esports and competitive gaming. And for me, ESPN. I watch ESPN almost religiously every day ever since I was a kid. And I made top 10 one time on SportsCenter. And ESPN is a platform for competition. It's just competition, so I don't see why esports wouldn't be covered on there more in the future. But Twitch TV is doing such a great job. I wouldn't mind just a Twitch TV channel, watching TV on a more regular basis. That would be something exciting.
And my dream that I always say every time is I hope in the future that just like when you go into the grocery store and around Super Bowl, you can go in and see the plates and the cups and the napkins with NFL logos and the Super Bowl logos. That's my dream for esports. I want you to be able to go to the grocery store and see the championships logos and the different teams, and I just think that would be awesome. I want to bring more attention to it and to the players, because it's really cool to get to know the player story. Like just like in American Idol, you know how they interview each singer and you get to know that person and their family. I think it'd be so cool to interview each player and to know their family and their background, so you can follow not only their play style, but
yeah, I mean, you get attracted to a person's personality or where they came from. You know, you might have some common interests outside of gaming. Like, you know, for me, I'm a sportsman / esports gamer. Some people are like, they have some other hobby they love and they play games, you know, so it's like people can get behind different people that are, they seem in a different light, I guess.
Yeah, that's so cool, so cool. Did I miss anybody's questions? Yes.
What are you playing right now, as in like what is your favorite games, even just for fun, not necessarily
right now,
competition?
It's H1Z1 right now. I'm playing that, I mean, I'm playing it all the time. You know, it's a fun game, you know, you run across some hackers here and there, but for me, it's like you're living in this crazy world and you have to build up. And I love getting my bullets and go hunt people, you know. So get some people together, and it's a fun game. I love talking to people. I mean, it was so funny. I'll just tell you one quick little story. But so I was in the woods and I spawned fresh spawn, and you know, I run on this girl in the game. And I was like, hey, how's it going? You know, because you can talk freely in the world that's in their proximity. And so hi, how's it going? She's like, oh, hi, how's it going? And she's like, Australian, you know? And I was like, whoa, like, where are you from? Like, oh, I'm from Australia, da, da. And I was like, so hey, you want to team up and run around together? And she was like, no, I'm okay. And so, and then I said, and I was like, oh, well, you really want to run through the woods alone, you know? So she thought it was funny, and she said, okay, we can hang out, you know? And then I took another step. So it's like, this is like the first date, right? You know, and so we're running around this world together, and we meet up with my brother and some other his friends, and we go into this church, and then we're in this church kind of hanging out, looking for loot, and then all of a sudden there's this cop car outside. He's like they're trying to come in and kill all of us, you know, and then this one crazy guy comes in, he's like just down to his underwear with his hands up, screaming, yelling, like going nuts, and we all trying to kill him, and then I shoot the bow and arrow, and it flies right over his shoulder and then kills my date.
Oh no!
We were,
no
and
way.
I was like, no, like, it feels like, she's like, when you're dying, you have like your last words, so she's like talking, oh, it's okay, no, I can't lose it, you know. You go along with the story and you have a little fun with it, you know, so it's very entertaining, and, you know, I'll definitely be playing it this week when I get home.
Wow, that's awesome. Yes, sir, you ready? I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I was curious about your thoughts on the growth of the esports genre. If you go on Twitch, you see
The fighting.
games like League and Counter-Strike always on the top, and it's like very rare to see.
Well, right now, don't they have that?
Just so everyone here, it's the fighting, right? Fighting.
Yeah, he's talking about fighting esports. Well, what's the tournament going out? Counterblock or?
Had one not so long ago. There's another one.
Well, there's one right now. I watched this morning. There's it's like CB, like there's a big tournament now, like 17,000 people watching this morning. It was some CB tournament. It was World Cup 10 I was watching. But I think they're playing a lot of different games. I mean, it looks like it's it's gone off pretty well. I mean, I've never seen 15,000 viewers in a fighting game before. So for me, I feel like, that's where Twitch comes in again, like where they're just doing an amazing job showing every genre, showing the best of that genre, showing those people that are passionate about it, you know, with the announcers and the speakers in those games, and just showing the competitive side of it, you know. And for me, it's amazing to watch esports grow how it has, you know. I mean, you know, like I said, like in '99 when I was my first pro tournament, you know, I was running around with socks, you know, you know. So now today it's so much more redefined.
Interesting. Yeah, real quick.
Speaking of online stuff, a while back, it's sort of a yearly thing to have speedrunners get games done quick.
Yeah.
Did you see speedrunning as a competitive or professional field?
Speedrunning as a professional field.
I think speedrunning in general is very entertaining to watch. It's kind of a one and done kind of thing. So I think they can probably find sponsors and so forth for that person who does it and so forth. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I remember when Quake was done quick. That was like eye-opening. I mean, they were shooting grenades, blowing up stuff up in the air and flying around. I mean, I can do it now. I mean, like when it was being done back then, it was like unheard of. And so it's like watching Mario Brothers done quick. You know, I mean, someone beat Mario Brothers as fast as possible. That was the thing for a long time. I mean, now it's about winning tournaments and winning big prizes. You know, Mortal Kombat 10 does the thing, I think, as well, just like Dota 2 did, where you pay $2.50 for a skin, and that donates to the Mortal Kombat X tournament. You know, Dota 2 did an amazing job raising like what $10 million for the Dota 2 championship, and so I think that model lets the community get back to their community a lot easier, and allows them to have these tournaments. For me personally, I don't see why these companies don't give out more money on a regular basis anyways. I mean, when you're making, you know, hundreds of millions on some game title, was it to give away $1 million every year and keep trust and passion? You know, League of Legends is a perfect example where they can give back to the community all the time, and so it's like that's how they keep growing and they keep relevance every year in esports.
So interesting. We are out of time, but we have another panel tomorrow about video games and impacting and changing the industry. That's tomorrow at 1:30?
Yeah,
something like that. We have too many to keep track. And of course, come up afterward and we can connect and stay in touch. And then, so the ending thing is just let us know how we can follow you and what you have coming up.
Yeah, you can find me on Fatal1ty.com, on Twitter and Facebook, at Fatal1ty. But I think you should find me on Twitter.
So thank you all so much for coming. Round of applause for everybody. Thank you.